Hello, welcome back to Tony Northeastern, and for part 2 of building this Metcalfe kit at the parish church. Now, just before we left on the last video, I was trying to work out how to get these cables down through the church, through the baseboard and to the power supply. And I've come up with an idea. I've made a little bit of trunk in there for the red cable to go down, and obviously the blue cable will come up through that trunking as well, and then go on to the far LED, and then doing the LEDs one at a time and in series. So that's going to work out well, and I've pre-notched the top ready to take the cables, and then I can glue the two halves together. Now, for the nave and the chapel, I'm going to need to put 4 LEDs into that, just to give it some extra lighting up. There's a LED in the chapel here at the end, and there's going to be 3 LEDs, 1, 2, 3 in the nave. And if you look underneath, as I just turn it over, there's a cross member there, a strengthening piece, which goes between the arches, and as you can see I've glued 1 LED in there already, because I was going to put an LED in the middle, but as a cross member is in there, it would have deflected the light, so I've used that cross member to fit that LED in. And side view shows it cables, or the electrodes from the LED in a plastic tube for insulation, which if you look through the window you won't be able to see it. You might see it when it's lit up, but I can live with it. Anyway, so that's the next thing to do, is to glue those two sections together after I fit the cables down that piece of trunking I've made, and we'll see how we get on there. So it's all assembly now. I've made these up ready, and the new gates, or the new doors, look quite realistic, along with the windows. And obviously the roof will have to be painted. That's been prescribed on the old lead roof in there. So it's all assembly now. Okay, I have now assembled most of the church together, and what a time I've had of it trying to put those cables through that trunking, but I've done it in the end, got there. Thing is, at least you won't be able to see them when you look through the window. That's my theory anyway. Now, another problem I had. Do you remember moving the window from the front of the tower, which was there, to the side of the tower, which is there now? Right, if I pan over the top, you can see both side buildings here are not in line. See, that one's there and that one's a step back there. Now, when I fitted this side, the glue had gone off, and I didn't realise until I went to fit this part of the building on this side, and the tabs that lined up on the bottom pushed this building smack in the middle of this window, and it was too late to do anything by then because that side had dried, and the only thing to do was to cover up one of the windows on the end. Yes, so I've lost a window, but never mind. The only alternative was to cut this building down here, lose that window, and then stick the end back on, and that would have pushed this end up, and it would have brought it in line with this window here. But I left it as is. I stuck that on there, and so I must have the only Metcalfe kit that the side buildings are staggered, as you'll see. And that's the little window I've lost on the other side. I think I can live with that. Right, just before I start painting the roof, because as you can see the roof is on now, on the tower and on the chapel and the nave. The ridge tails are on as well. I've just got the capping stones to put on, but I'll do that later. But just before we start painting the roof, I had a few questions about the LED flashing that I've been putting on my buildings, and basically there's two ways of doing it. You can use the leftover tiles and cut it down the middle like I've used there, and using a rule just push in the middle and start the fold, push in the middle and start the fold, and then gently squeeze it together until you get a fold. You end up with like a V shape like that, and then open it out again, and then just glue it to wherever you want it. Like for instance here, I'll be gluing it across there, and just pushing it in with a pencil, just pushing it into the corners with a pencil, while the glue is still wet. Or you can cut 4mm strips of paper, and using the rule just push the corner onto it, get it somewhere in the middle, just push, and then just use your fingers, squeeze it between your fingers, and you'll start the fold off like so, and then you just paint that. So you could either use 4mm strips of paper, or you can use your paper tile capping stones, what's left over from your building, but it's got to be about 4mm in width. This is the tricky bit, and it just hides those gaps. I'm just using a pencil just to push it while it's still wet, like so. Okay, and once that's painted, it'll look like LED flashing. Okay, I've finally finished it. It's worked out quite well, having the arch at the front of the tower rather than on the side. I did have to make up an extra doorstep out of the spare card, because obviously there wasn't a spare doorstep in the kit, because there was only two doorsteps in the kit, one for here and one for the archway, but that wasn't a problem. Just made up another one, plenty of spare card. It's been weathered. The grey LED flashing on the top is exactly what I did on the fish and chip shop, which was semi-matte black mixed in with a semi-metallic silver, and obviously I've darkened it down and weathered it slightly. The slate is a matte black and a matte grey 248, mixing the two together. More of the grey, 2 parts grey and a single part black, and you get this nice slate effect. Same on the tower top as well. So yes, I did the usual LED flashing here. Don't know if you can see that here and there. So, and in there as well. So that's ready to go on the layout. It'll be interesting to see how it lights up. So we'll take it over there and we'll have a look. Okay, I've temporarily hooked it up, just so we can have a look at the lighting. There's the arch, and you just see that the door's slightly open, and here's one of the big stained glass windows, and there's the smaller ones. It's looking good. Now the impressive window is at the back here. So it was well worth stained glass in the windows, because they look absolutely fabulous. Right, I think that will finish that area off nicely. I think that will be the position. I might even raise it off the ground a little bit, maybe 12mm or so, set it on a MDF plinth. But yes, so there it is, the Metcalfe parish kit modified slightly. Right, thanks for watching, see you next time, bye.